Hey there everybody, Eric from OUTER LIMITLESS coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video we are going to look at the PT18 Pro flashlight from Brinyte. Now Brinyte is a company that I covered with Carlos from Daily Carry Solutions at SHOT Show 2020. At the time we were blown away at the overall presentation and quality of the flashlights that we saw from Brinyte, and at this point they have provided this flashlight for review. So before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Brinyte for providing this flashlight for this review. Now as we get into this PT18 Pro, there's something I need to say right away. When you get a Brinyte flashlight in your hands, this feels premium. This is not your low budget or midline class of flashlight. This is a high-end, precision-made, well-manufactured, well-thought-through flashlight. So the first thing is, when this says PT18 Pro, well, they're not all pro models, but you're gonna get a pro quality flashlight. This thing is absolutely sweet. The overall fit and finish is gorgeous. The functionality just wonderfully done. And I'm really excited to get this out tonight. Now at this point, I haven't done a ton of use in really the sort of outdoor environment. I've used it a bunch in my house, but what kind of a test really is that? So you're gonna come with me today. So my question is, yes, the fit and finish, the feel in the hand, and the quality seems to be there, but is it going to be there with the overall beam and output? Now, if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now I'm out here today at this beautiful canal to take a look at this Brinyte PT18 Pro flashlight. Now the first thing is I want to do some testing of this and just look around. A real cool situation where at night this is going to have some good visual interest. Now for me to even get here in the first place, I'm going to need a good amount of light. For me to see where I'm going, I'm going to need a quality output, and to even cast a beam at a distance, I'm really wondering what the overall punch and power of this flashlight is going to be. Now the sun's going down, but we still have a while. What I want to do is go through the overall features. So the first thing, as I mentioned, the fit and finish on this is absolutely beautiful. Now when you start at the head of the flashlight, look at that beautiful bezel, nice overall lens on the inside, good quality, just super clear glass. I mean, when you look at just how nicely this is made, that mirrored finish on the inside of the head there, it is just so pristine. When you look at the LED, so perfectly and precisely placed in the middle, the quality, you can just see it. Now, I've held dozens and dozens of flashlights, but this one is really starting to call my name for a number of reasons. And the first thing is just that fit and finish and the feel in my hands. You know immediately you have a good quality precision piece. Now, nice subtle knurling as you look at the head. Again, it's nothing that's overbearing. It's just enough and it just looks great. I like how it's got a couple of different patterns on there and really breaks up the look on that head very nicely. And then it gets down into the body. Again, just beautiful machining, very nicely done, and overall a good ergonomic fit. So for me, a flashlight of this size is pocketable. It's right on the edge, but it is pocketable. And if you notice, this comes with a pocket clip, also comes with that tactical ring, both of which can be removed. And then you also end up with that tactical ring. There's actually the two, so the indexing and the actual tactical ring, all of which can be removed depending on your style and your wishes. Beautifully done, the nice two-tone. This happens to be in the desert tan color. You can also get this in black. I like this tan. It's kind of got a gold tint to it. Very nice. Just beautifully done. The fit and finish, again, just marvelous. The Brinyte logo just nicely etched in the side there and machined nicely, softened. Everything's just contoured very nicely and feels really great in your hands. And then the tail switch, nice and tactile. So good, positive feeling on that. You have the extruded button in both cases, 2 switches. We will get into the functionality very soon, and then also just a nicely machined side switch. So everything on this flashlight right away caught me by attention as extremely nicely done. Good attention to detail, great features, and the fit and finish is absolutely wonderful. Now as we get into the modes, turning on the tail switch, the second switch is what does your mode. So as you click, that is going through your modes. So tonight, as I'm going through the modes, just keep that in mind. Basically turning the tail switch on, and now pressing the lower button to make it through those modes. The other thing you can do is once the flashlight is on, you can press the side switch. So you'll see here, depressing that side switch, that is cycling again through the modes. And what's nice is that gives you a couple options depending on your grip. I find that once I get the flashlight in my hands, I really do want to naturally index and grab right there. So as I use that tactical ring, maybe fit my pinky on that, and just indexing, my thumb falls perfectly into place on that side switch and cycles through the modes. Now the modes have a nice spread overall. I do like the overall output. So your turbo mode is 2000 plus lumens, your high mode at 450, middle at 600, low at 10, and the strobe mode going back to the 2000 lumens. Now there also is an SOS mode. So overall, a fully featured flashlight with a number of different options, including those specialty modes. And the good thing for me is a low mode of 10 lumens is about perfect. You've heard me say it on a number of occasions, I don't like those super low moonlight or firefly modes, so having a low mode in that 10 lumen range is definitely a plus. But then bumping to 60, 450, and 2000 lumens, overall a very nice spread. Now this PT18 Pro, having an overall beam distance throw of 360 meters with 32,000 candela. So this should have pretty good punch. I'm really interested in seeing these beam patterns when the light goes down, and really how well this throws, how far the light projects, and how much punch you have at different distances. So now again, just showing you these details a little bit closer up. Again, as I mentioned, just that beautiful head there. You can see nice and polished on the inside, that dark black bezel on the outside just looks really, really nice. And the overall shape and style of the head, absolutely beautiful. Working your way down along the side of the flashlight, here you will see there is your side switch. And then on the opposite side, this is a magnetic charging port. So a small proprietary charging port capable of charging the battery while it's still inside the flashlight. Moving your way along, again, as I mentioned, just nicely machined, that beautiful logo right on the side, very nicely done. It's smooth, it's not overbearing, it's just nicely done. The pocket clip in black, again, if you don't want that, it can be removed. You end up with your tactile ring, both the tactical ring on the back, but also this indexing ring here. So nice and versatile, couple of different features, so different strokes for different folks. And then on the back, again, here you have a small lanyard hole. You end up with your main switch and then your mode switch. So now back in the studio real quick to go through some of the details on this PT18 Pro Oathkeeper. As mentioned, on the back side of the flashlight, here you can see the proprietary magnetized charging port. And here you have the proprietary USB charging cable. And instantaneously connecting right to the flashlight. As I flip it over, you can see there is a red indicator. Now, if you watch closely, as I plug this in, it will briefly go to yellow, then to red, indicating that this does really need a charge. I have used this flashlight quite a bit at this point, and it is in desperate need of a good, healthy charge. But that is the nice thing. I like the fact that Brinyte has good quality indication on this little LED. Now, as I mentioned, this does go yellow to red, but when this is good and ready to go, it will turn green, giving you the indication that it is ready to go. Now, I'm not going to go through complete detail. As you look here, there are, I'm sure, ways if you want to unthread this bezel, which I'm not really going to do. Nice machining on those threads. I'm not certain that the head would come off, and I'm not even going to try. However, you can easily take off this tail cap. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that you need to be careful with the orientation of your tactical ring, so that, I mean, you can really put this in 360 different degrees depending on what you're looking to do. I found that for me, I really want it sort of in that perpendicular direction to these buttons. So really for me, that seems to be the perfect orientation, so that when it's all put together and I get my hand oriented in that ring, my thumb falls perfectly on that side switch, as well as in the reverse grip. As I grip this a couple of different ways, my thumb is perfectly on those buttons right where I need. So that's the first thing to pay attention when you put this back together. However, unthreading this here, nice machining on the threads, perfectly done. You can see gasketed in a couple of spots, gasketed both on the body of the flashlight, but also in this tactical ring. So that gasket helping to hold everything nice and tight and in place. And you'll see that this tail cap is loaded with knurling. Now on the inside of the tactical ring, you'll see there is that sort of, I would call it little indexing point there, both on the top and on the bottom to get this back in place. Now if you wanted, there are some indicator arrows painted right onto the tail cap. I found that I don't really use that particular location and indication. I really, as I mentioned, go more in the perpendicular direction, and in fact for me, it's really kind of more this way. And so that for me is the perfect orientation going back. But as I slide out the battery, you can see this does utilize the Brinyte batteries. Now there are a couple of different versions out there depending on which Brinyte flashlight you get. This 18650 is the 3.6 volt 3100 milliamp hour battery. Some of these do have a USB-C charging port. This one does not, simply because at this point we already know that you can charge this inside the flashlight. But overall, I am pretty impressed at the runtime on this battery. I feel like it's done a great job. Now, as I mentioned, I have been using this flashlight for quite a while now, and this has run a good long time. Days and days and days of continued use, plus what we're about to get into is some nighttime beam shots. So with that, now that you've seen some of these features a little bit more up close, why don't we get out and check out the quality of this beam. It's a beaver over there slapping his tail. Hear that? That's that turbo mode. See if we can see him swimming around. He's not happy. You hear that? Sounds like a big boy. Hear him out there? I don't know if that's gonna focus. Big old beaver out there. Hear him way out there splashing. But yeah, here we are. Now that it's getting dark, back at the canal. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is pop this light on turbo. So as you see here, some real nice punch all the way out into those trees. I mean, those trees are fairly far away. I would say, they're at least 200 feet away from me, and probably 80 feet tall. And those are some big boy trees right there. And this definitely lights this place up. So that turbo, 2,000 plus lumens, real nice punch. And look how strong that lights up these trees. Again, as you can see there, just fully illuminating and just making that real solid reflection in the water. And real far out. Look how far out that beam, just really illuminating those trees. That's awesome. Super bright. So that turbo mode is awesome. Now pressing one time on that secondary mode goes to the low, which you couldn't see, medium, high, and then again that turbo mode. So now in front of me, that's the turbo. So you can see the defined hot spot with some nice flood off to the side. Pressing the button one time. So there you go. That's your 10 lumen low mode. So very nice. Perfect For general navigation, that's why I like these semi-higher low modes. Firefly and Moonlight and those half lumen and 1 lumen and even to like 5 lumen sometimes just doesn't cut it. But that 10 lumen mode, that's nice. You can hear all the wildlife out here tonight. Really cool. So one more bump of that secondary switch. There you go. That's your medium mode. So again, getting some decent throw. You can see out here. Nice, even beam pattern. This beam pattern is very nice where it's not super hot in terms of the hot spot. I mean, you can see the hot spot for sure. Don't get me wrong. But it is, again, just nice and even. So a good throw, yet even beam at the same time. Now that high mode, really starting to kick it into gear. This is going to be your efficient mode if you want some good quality high output, but you don't want to kill the battery life. This will do it for you. And even here, you can see all the way across, all the way over there. That high mode still doing it for you. So as I zoom in a little more, it's about probably 60, maybe 70 feet across the water. And again, you can see it's still doing a pretty good job lighting things up. And enough throw that it's still getting up into the trees. Now my eyes can see it a little better than the camera, but it's still doing a nice job. And then one more pump, boom. There's your turbo. Definitely nice throw, fully illuminating the tree and everything around it at this point. Really nice beam. This has some good solid punch. And so now, what about that tactical mode? Well, with the light in the off position, just pressing that secondary button, boom. That's your strobe. So it is a pattern that sort of changes as time goes on. Good overall beam. Now, it doesn't appear to be nearly as bright as the turbo, but I can tell you it is the same overall output. It's just in that strobe function. That is a real nice strobe. Now with the light in the on position, using the side switch, you can double press real quick, and that will go into the strobe mode. Pressing it one more time, it comes back out. Again, double press, another quick double press. Now you're not able to see that at a distance, but I can tell you that second double press is now putting this into an SOS beacon. So as I look straight down at the ground here, there you go. Here's your SOS beacon. So that works very well. And now another quick single press, and you're out, and you're back into that turbo mode. You can hear the beaver chewing. Hear that? I know that beaver is right over there. You can hear him working. Just can't quite see him. What a nice night. Okay, so now one last metric to measure against. What has better output? The 2 headlights in my truck or the PT18 Pro Oathkeeper from Brinyte? What do you think? So here you'll see the 2 lights on my truck. There's the high beams, both of which give you the comparison. So standard, high beams, there you go. Now, turning those lights off altogether, here is the PT18 Pro on turbo. I would say significantly better. And even on high. So the high and turbo modes really putting my truck's headlamp to shame. So as you can see, the PT18 Pro being awesome for those evenings where, hey, you know, in that case, trying to hunt a little wildlife, get some views, and even if my headlights in my truck were a problem, well, I got a backup solution. But the reason why I am bringing this to your attention, as you can look here, that little indicator light, that is on the side switch. So another nice little feature on this Brinyte PT18 Pro, that little glowing LED. Now that does drain your battery just a touch, but you're never gonna notice. If you use this light enough, which you should be, you're gonna be throwing it on the charger much more often than that little LED is gonna be a problem. Now that can be disabled, but personally, I think that's a nice touch. I like the way it looks. It's pretty cool. And when this light is sitting on my nightstand, it's subtle, but I can see it and I like it. So Brinyte, beautiful job, nice little touch. And so I have seen this flashlight packaged a couple of different ways. Mine just happened to come in a box, I believe, because it was a sample, so just a plain cardboard box, not a big deal. But the accessories this came with, very, very nice. So first off is simple, but it did come with a paracord lanyard. So very easy to clip this onto the back of the flashlight if you want a good amount of paracord here, and you can sling the flashlight right around your neck or hold it on. It does give you the ability to cinch down on the loop if you want to, so that is fairly nice that it came with this. Now, I have not used this yet, and I'm not certain I'm going to, but again, just giving you overall versatility depending on how you want to carry and use the flashlights. A couple of O-ring gaskets, which is definitely going to be key now. This does have a few in different locations. When you look closely around that tactical ring, this is gasketed to keep it watertight. And now this holster. So this is made to specifically fit this flashlight. I have to tell you, it is a little bit snug. I bet you it would break in over time. So as I set this down into the holster, it takes a little bit of work to get that head down into place, but you'll notice here that it does fit with that tactical ring. Now pulling this up and over the top, that sets down into place. And what's interesting is it allows you to use this while it is still in the holster. So whether you click it on fully and you want to use the light, that will certainly work. Or if you just need a couple of blasts with that secondary mode switch, you can get into that tactical mode, and that works fairly well. Now it does block a little bit of the beam, but not a big deal. On the side here, it looks like you do have the ability to slide a couple of 18 650s in there if you want, maybe a small pocket knife or something like that. On both sides, that is the case. Certainly would hold something like a lighter, so you can make a little kit out of this if you wanted. And the other thing that is nice is this clip is very easy to get on and off of your belt, where it's got that nice tab there. Sometimes clips like this that don't have that tab are very difficult to get back off your belt, but in this, that is not the case. A very nice clip, and you can rotate it. So if this is on your hip and you wanted to illuminate, you could definitely click the light on while it's on your hip. Just give you a little bit of light to get in and out of some tricky situations. So all right guys, there you have it, a look at this Brinyte PT18 Pro Oathkeeper. Just a beautiful flashlight, again, just wonderfully made. I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Brinyte for providing this for review. Definitely on the right track, making some beautiful products. I do have more from Brinyte to come, so everybody, if you're interested in this flashlight, stay tuned for future reviews on additional products from Brinyte. But for now, I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.